So it seems to me that Minecraft has entered into a completely new phase of the game in this latest snapshot, 24W45A. I apologize I did not stream yesterday. I'm going to be streaming next week, but this is mostly a technical snapshot. The most important feature change is mobs picking up items. They have different preferences now. They tend to pick up items that are better than the ones that they're holding. Skeletons prefer bows, piglins and pillagers prefer crossbows, and drowns prefer tridents. So you can read about all of the preferences here. I'm not really going to go through that. What I'd like to go through instead is something way more interesting and a little bit more complicated, and I'll walk you through it, but it's something that you'll find far more use out of. So feel free to subscribe, and if you'd like to learn more, watch ahead. First of all, what I'd like to do is summon a stray and have a look at the stray and what it's doing. It's trying to shoot at me, but the bow that it's holding is not shifting in its hand at all. This is a very odd occurrence that is new to the snapshot. And is it a bug? This is obviously a bug. The bog has the same issue. Okay. Well, I guess here in Parkour Civilization, strays do not raise their bows when attacking. How the heck do I get out of here? I didn't even test that out. Oh, I'm still getting attacked. Well, you can see if you look in their right hand, they do not raise their bows when trying to attack. And that is a side effect directly from the massive changes in this snapshot. Nice, okay. You can see that the model is still changing. It's still charging the bow from its hand, but it's not doing what it should be doing. You'll quickly realize that the resource pack changes define basically 75 to 80% of all the changes here. Oh, would you look at that? 2-1-2. 4 damage is ignored for a couple of seconds when reloading into land or single player worlds. Ain't that a bummer? So apart from all this, you'll see that the resource pack changes cover all of this. And I'm going to summarize everything as quickly as I can so you can understand basically what this all means. First of all, I'm going to give myself 3 different items. And if you look closely, nothing seems out of the ordinary with these 3 items. This is a glowstone dust. That is not butter, but I've named it butter. And this is a shulker box with an apple, totem of undying, an eye of ender, and a waxed slightly weathered cut copper stairs. So 3 different items that look relatively normal, apart from the custom name here. Okay, so this shulker box, you can see what happens when I move my hotbar selector over this item. And what it seems to do is render all of the items that are inside the shulker box in the UI. And this is now possible from this snapshot. And it certainly explains what Bartek Bok tweeted out a few days ago. So not only can you now render entity-based models with the item model component, you can now specifically define item states inside the resource pack. So it's like block states. If you don't know what block states are, the best way I can demonstrate it is simply through a redstone lamp. So redstone lamp can be turned off and it can be turned on. So there are 2 states for this block, off and on. You can render different textures through a debug stick. So you can do this, it's a directional block. You can also have a lit state, so on and off. You can now do this with item models. So for the shulker box, what I've done here is you can now display what's inside it by simply selecting it with the selector. So if you place it down and open it, you've got the apple, totem of undying, eye of ender, and waxed slightly weathered cut copper stairs. But this is just one such example. By the way, I'm layering all of the item models together through the bundle because the bundle's model behavior allows you to do that. This one is butter, and with butter, I can eat it. It's not actually butter, it's a golden ingot, but I'm just showing you what I can do that you couldn't do previously, or would be completely ridiculous to try to attempt it. I'll show you the last one at the very end. I really do like this one. So what's going on here? So in version 24W45A, if you enter the assets folder and then Minecraft, so when you create your resource pack, there is a new folder here called items, and this is what determines item states and how item textures should behave depending on what you do with it. So for example, if I go into items, the best one and my favorite one is the bow, because the bow has the drawback animation, which changes the item model depending on how long you've drawn it. And the way that it achieves this is through the using item property, and on the condition that it's true, it's using range dispatch, which is determining how long you've used the item for. So I created a new item state called butter, which uses a similar design. And instead of doing the whole bow pulling animation, I'm just changing how many bytes there are inside this item. So these are massive, massive changes that you may need to know if you do resource pack stuff, because a lot of things you might try to do now will not work. So the glowstone dust one I also really enjoyed making. If I select it and hold on to it, it turns red. and then if I deselect, it goes back to glowstone dust. So it just changes to red as if you've just selected it, and then if you unselect, it goes back to yellow. So this is using the carried component, and it just detects whether it's used inside your mouse between slots. And it's another Boolean property, so if you've just selected it or not selected it. So that essentially summarizes the major changes in this snapshot. I'll let you know if there's anything that's necessary for me to make into a video, but it appears to me that this is the big change that needs to be addressed. And otherwise, subscribe to the channel. If you need any help, leave a comment. I'm sure a lot of the helpful commenters will be able to assist any questions, but I will leave a paste bin if that's still a thing for all the code that I use to change all these things. Hopefully it gives you an understanding of what you need to do.